Good evening, friends, and welcome to day 5 of our training. We've started delving into some of the key concepts that we are lined to cover. Yesterday, we looked at calculated fields, and today we are going to be looking at calculated items in pivot tables. So we are going to also see what calculated items are, when do we need them, and how do we bring them in. We will also be responding to some questions that have come up during the course of yesterday's session. And particularly that yesterday, a question came up when we got our calculated fit for project duration, which gave us a sum, and then summing up the project durations for duplicate projects. And we couldn't directly get the average. And so I said I was going to look into that and then revert back to the team. I did, and I made a video of that and I shared in the group. I want to believe that some of us have taken a view on that clip. However, we're just going to briefly touch that aspect and then respond to some questions that just came up. So we were working on duration. That was as at yesterday. Okay, thank you, Nuruddin, you're back. I was asking if you're back. Good to know you're back. So as at yesterday, we were looking at this project. So we'll use this session to recap what we did yesterday while buttressing that question. So what happened was we looked for, we created a calculated field and got an extra field that gives us the project duration. And then it gave us a sum because we saw that there were repeated, there are duplicates. And so we wanted to see if we could get average. So let's go ahead and see how this works. So here we have our project data set. So I'm going to click pivot table. I don't know if this the point that Ifnaya said he wanted to find out how I do the selection. If this is the point, Ifnaya, what I usually do, let me escape. What I usually do is where my data set is, I place my cursor there. You can see my cursor is right ahead to click insert and then do. Now, intuitively, the Excel will suggest that you were probably trying to select this entire data set. You can see the lines showing dash lines running around that table. If that is what I want, then fine. Now, if you click elsewhere, say your cursor is here, and this is where your data is, and then you go straight to click insert and start pivot table, you will be the one now to define the range. You can see there is nothing defined here because my cursor is where there is no data. So all I need to do is to maybe collapse this and then go here and select all of them and then back to my pivot table. So it has given me that range. So that's how we do that. Now I want to place this right here. And sorry, let me go a bit. Pivot table, and this is where I want it. I need a selection where I want to drop it, so I drop it here. Then we brought our project name here, and we went to do pivot, calculated field, and we came over here. and we got a calculated field, which we named duration. And we defined that new field as end date minus the start date to give us the duration. And we saw that the duration gave us date. So we decided to go and change this to number through our field. Then we come here. We don't want any decimal place. We okay this gives us the number. So as at yesterday, we wanted to find out, since this was sum, whether we could change it to average. We did, but the value did not change, okay? The value did not change. It remained the same. And I said I was going to get back to us. So this is what I am going to discuss now. Now, I have created another set of projects which now have duplicates, okay? So I have added this. So here we have this duplicate. This is Victor. Then we have another Havron project. These are all duplicates. And then Project Nigeria, they come in duplicates. Now, the way to solve that is to create another field here from the original source. Say here, we now name this, let's say project, let me put it in full, project duration. Okay, so this is the project duration. Now, the reason why we need to create this inside the original source is, remember the time we went ahead to create the field, when we went to create the field, the duration field, the calculated field, what we did was that the pivot table will go and aggregate all of them together. So it's going to aggregate this one together before calculating that field. And so after calculating that field from an aggregated data, it will not be possible to disaggregate for each of these projects that are duplicates. So I'm going to demonstrate that now. Say we have here, our project duration is defined by end date minus start date. It gives us 70. And by the time we take it down, it gives us different values. That is fine. Now, with this data, I'm going to create a new pivot table. I'm going to create two pivot tables. One will do the calculated field, and then the other one, we will use the one that is from the source data. So let's go ahead and insert a pivot table. Yes, it's selecting everything. So, and I'm going to paste it here. So here we have this project name. You see, even the project Victor, project Nigeria, project Havron, though they are in duplicates here, but it just selected one as unique. So if we are going to bring in our calculated field previously, okay, we are going to, let's make that calculated field again over here, field. So for this one, we are going to use only duration, not including project duration, so that we can distinguish it. Duration. Okay, let me also add something, calculated field. So there are three there, three words there to distinguish between the duration, the project duration we created from the pivot table and the ones from the source data set. So we are defining this again as our end date minus start date. We okay that? So we have this. Again, let's go through the process of changing this through the number format, going to number, and then returning back here to give us this. Now, I am going to create the second one. I'm going to create a second pivot table, and I'm going to drop it just beside this one here. Again, I'm bringing my table, my project name, but this time around, I am going to select this project duration, which was from the original data source. So here I have my project duration. And because the calculation is the same, it's giving me the same answer. You can see. Now, if we want to get the average duration, now we can come here and click and then go to values field setting, get our average, okay it. If we do the same thing here, it's not going to give us that answer. It's still going to remain that. You can see here, it's going to remain that way. So you see, running this side by side, this is have run project, this is the total, but this is the average. The reason why this works is because you do this from the original data set where it is not aggregated before the calculated field. The reason why it's not happening here is because that calculated field had already combined the data for all the duplicate projects, combined them, aggregated, then came up with that calculated field. So it is no longer possible to split it at that point to separate them and get your average. So if we want to get project duration that we may have to disaggregate to get the average, we need to get this at this point at our data source, create that project duration so that we can get the average for each one that is occurring as pairs or duplicates. So this is how that is handled. So I don't know if there's any question at this point. We shared this video. We made a video early in the morning and shared it in the WhatsApp group. I hope some people found it difficult and useful. And so this is also going to be more helpful when you combine what we did with this one. So for all the places where we have projects in duplicates, we see the averages coming up fine. Like here, I think there are 3 of them. And here, so these are the projects that are called in our data set as duplicates. All right, so let's move forward if there are no questions. If Nanya, you also asked about drilling down. Okay, so let's see how we can drill down from this point. Now, when we are looking at this project and this, let's see if there are things to drill down. So I'm coming here and I'm going to double click this cell. Sorry, that's not my pivot table. Here is the pivot table. So I'm going to double click here. This is project, have run project. When you double click, it opens up it creates a new worksheet and then gives you the details of that cell that you created. So if assuming you were interested in looking at this data, let's say this one, and you said, well, this average is 483.5. Is it possible that there are more than, how many projects are here that gave you this average? That so you opens up that you see there. Now assume data. So let's update this again by adding a role. So I've added a role now, and I'm bringing this Victor project over here. And let's say here now we have 11, 2015, so that it can give us a different What's that? Okay, sorry. We need to, this is end date minus this. This is C minus B, C minus B, C minus B. It seemed some not to be, I think it may be, yeah, somebody's hand is up. Just a minute. I think,
Yes, yeah, I want to comment on that because November doesn't have
okay.
31st. That's why it is showing that.
Okay, okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Thank you very much. Okay, so we got that. Then we have additional one here. There are three projects now. And okay, so let's use this as example. Here, let us update this pivot table. Come to pivot table, analyze, refresh, and it gives you this. So you want to wonder, this project, Victor, how many projects are here, or what are the details concerning this project? So you double click here, and then it brings out that there are three projects that gave you that, and these are their respective project durations. These are their respective start and end dates, and these are the people responsible for that that project. And again, the status for each of those projects handled by this project manager. So if that is the answer to that question. And there was one third question you asked. I can't remember that. Maybe if you can type it in the chat box while I continue. If I pick it, then I'll be able to talk about that. So the next thing we want to start today is calculated field. Sorry, calculated item. And so we are going to look at our marketing strategy, for instance. Now, assuming you are interested in knowing what is the total budget. Let's say we are interested in the following question. Let me type this question there. What is the total budget for fall deals and winter blast? And again, what is the difference in actual spend between summer promo and Black Friday? Remember that as we are working with Pivottable, we just want to maintain our work on the pivot table without changing the original data set as much as possible, except in a situation where we know what we want is not possible to derive it directly, just like we saw in the average. So we'll go to the data sort and do that. But assuming that we are interested in knowing the total budget for deals and winter blast, and then number two, what is the difference in actual spend between summer promo and Black Friday? Again, let's go here and insert our pivot table. I put my cursor inside this data set, and intuitively it has guessed that this is my data set. And if that intuition is good, I will accept it and define where I want to place my pivot table. Now, to answer this question, what is the total budget? Now, when we are looking for total budget between two items, that's when we will introduce a new item. What it means is, let me bring my campaign name here. Then we have this. I am interested in bringing another item somewhere here, somewhere along this row that tells me a name that I am going to give the total the total budget for what's our question? Total budget for falls deals and winter. Falls deals and winter. So here we are going to give it a name. Fall deals. Fall deal. Okay, let's say fall and winter. Fall and winter. Let's say this is the name we want to give to the new thing. New item. So what we do is we'll go to, there is a problem I am hoping that we will encounter here so that I can use it to address that. So I will go to my pivot table analyze calculation, click here. This is item. I didn't bump into that challenge. There is a challenge that may come up. Let me see. Just a minute, calculation. I didn't have that. Well, maybe when you run into it, we can discuss it. It's only when we have that challenge that sometimes I remember to talk about it. But good enough, I remember it. I'm going to talk about it. So what we are going to do here, this is a calculated item, different from calculated field, remember. So the item we want is called fall and winter. So when I come here, I say, what is it that is our formula? Our formula is fall deal, which is this, plus winter, blast. We are done. I okay that. So we see it over here. Now, anything at all you bring into your pivot table will always have this figure displayed. So let's go ahead. We are looking at our budget. Remember, the question is on budget. So we carry our budget to the value field. It gives us 14,000. This is 7,000 for Black Friday. Sorry, 6,000 for false deals and 8,000 for winter blast. This gives us the two of them. Okay, so this is how you bring in a new item under a particular field. So you see the difference. Here, you will not see that calculated field here because it is not a field. It is an item. And that item is under the row here that we placed on our roll. Winter, this. So if you bring any other thing, actual spend now, it's also going to tell you the sum of the actual spend. Okay? So it looks like it's still the same thing here. We have falls spent 5,800 and winter spent 8,200, which also gives us 14,000. Again, what do we need to look at? Okay, the conversion rate. If we bring our conversion rate here, it's going to give us, this is the combination. Again, we need mathematician to tell us how to work when you have two rates, you combine them together. Me, I was thinking might be different from my understanding, but mathematicians will have better explanation. So this is how we do calculated items. Now, let's look at the second question. By the way, our question stops at budget. Say, what is the total budget? Now, the other question is, what is the difference in actual spend between promo and Black Friday? Again, let us give it a name that we are going to put up there. So this is difference underscore, just underscore sum and BLK, Black Friday, something like that. So I'm going to use this when we create our pivot table. I'm going to come over here and insert my pivot table. Of course, I'm going to place it here. I'm okay in that. Again, we're looking at the summer. Hello, guys. I'm back. Oh. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, sir. I can hear you.
Okay. So you got up to this point. Were you with me up to this point when I created this pivot table?
No. We can hear you, but we are not seeing the screen. The screen wasn't moving.
Okay. But it's better now, right?
Yes.
Thank you. So I said at the end of this, we have created our fall, winter. And so we need to go to the second question. And then the second question is asking us the difference in actual spend between summer and Black Friday. So we are going to create a new pivot table. And I'm going to place it here, just side by side with this. Again, we're interested in the campaign. So I bring my campaign there. And it's a new calculated field, calculated item. Again, I go through pivot table, analyze, go to my calculations, and come over here. So the name that we say we are going to use is diff underscore sum and black. And what is that? It is telling us the summer, which is summer promo, minus Black Friday over here. So we are done. I okay this. And I need to bring that to our data. We need to take our, is it actual now? Actual. And then that gives us this. So we see here that the difference between summer and black actual spend is minus 2,300. The reason why this is so is because Black Friday spend seems to be higher than the summer promo. So if we want to have a positive figure, we change it because we're not told the specific one. They all say difference. So difference between two numbers can either be A minus B or B minus A. So whichever one that is higher will display either positive or negative based on which one that is first. So this is how we do a calculated field, a calculated item. Now the calculated item handles insertion of items in a particular field. Like you can see, this is one field called campaign name. And also there is a figure, there is an item that we have brought in called fall and winter. The same thing here, the second item that we introduce is called diff, sum and black. So for calculated item, we are bringing it under one particular field. Whereas for a calculated field, we are creating a new field that can come this way and this way and so on and so forth. So that is how we run analysis and bring in a calculated field when we see the necessity to do that during our analysis. So at this point, I would like to pause. If there are questions, fine. If there are no questions, we take 15 minutes to run these two levels of analysis. So let's go ahead and take 15 minutes. This is 20, that is 8:24. So by 8:50, we should be starting the next session. I'm here. If you have any question, raise your hand and then we can talk. So for now, I'm going to pause this recording, and please remind me when we start the next session to start it, because sometimes I can forget. Okay, if Naya says there's no issues, let's go on to John. Hello, John. Any issues from your end?
None for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Nuruddin, we're on to you. Any issues from your end? You may
Not really,
yes,
sir. Not really. I had a very poor network, but I'll make sure I meet up with you.
Okay. That's good to know. Quite encouraging.
Yes.
So the next on our list is Olatunji. Any issues from your end during this exercise?
No, sir. No issue, sir.
Oh, that's great to know. Let's go to Omogo. Any issues from you, Omogo? Okay, while we wait for a response from Omogo C, already Richard has said no issues. Ubale. Ubale, any issues from your end?
No issues, sir. Thank you.
Oh, great. Thank you. And next is Victor. Any issues from your end?
No issue, but just a question I want to ask.
Okay, you want to ask questions. So please go ahead and ask.
Yes, like in the calculating the doing a calculation in the items.
Yes.
That's the yes, yes. Can you be able to pick information from two different columns?
Like how? Can you give an example?
Okay, now assuming you want to calculate a item, not field, and you pick a column like this very one, maybe you pick something from the campaign column and go and pick an item maybe on the actual spend.
No, but I even want to wonder, what I want to ask, what would you be interested in doing? First of all, you won't
Yes.
be able to combine two different fields when you going for calculated item.
Okay.
When you can combine or make reference to two different fields is only when you are creating a new field, that's calculated field. But if
Okay.
it is an item, it is only
Yes.
on one particular field that you are going to do that.
Okay. It's okay.
All right.
Okay.
So
That's fine, sir.
at this point, okay, thank you. At this point, I'm going to share a request to every one of us. You know, our approach is rule-based. And the way we have been doing so far, we have been treating case studies that are real life, that have real life applications. So what we usually would do is to request you to send us a description of the kind of questions you always handle, the task you handle at workplace. And if you can, we would want you to send us dummy data. So I'm sending that message now to the group. We usually do so during our Excel classes so that we can fill your daily task and then see how we can bring our training to really bring life to what we do. So I've sent this request. You can send up to 5 different spreadsheet files to scemelike@havron360.org. We will look at your questions, the way you handle them, and then we can come up with a project that combines all of this. There is a project that we usually use for our assessment. It's called Havron Humanitarian Support Campaign. But if we were able to get this from each one of you, they will be able to come up with things that we may not have covered. So we want to see what kind of questions do you handle at workplace. You can write the question for us, even if you are not going to share dummy data. Give us some of those questions, and we can come up with a data set that will help us to visualize that. So that's the request that we want to make at this point. I've sent that to the chat group. I hope you'll be able to get that and then send to us. So if we can get your responses before tomorrow's, okay, no, we're not having tomorrow. We're not having session tomorrow. So we are going to discuss how we'll be handling our next sessions after this. Okay, so let's look at the other questions. Let's see how we are doing with our, where is our outline? All right, so formatting and customization. Then we have slicers and timelines. Then our last this thing will be on visualization, where we are going to bring in a whole lot of interactivity and dynamic visualizations. So at this point, let's take maybe 3 minutes to agree on when next we will have our session. So can we have suggestions? We will need like 2 more sessions to round up.
I will suggest Monday and Tuesday, same time.
Monday and Tuesday, same time. That's second and third. Okay. John's hand was up, and okay, Richard said Monday and Tuesday.
Yes, thank you.
So that's, go ahead, John.
Yes, I was about to suggest the same thing Victor did, so it's fine. Monday, Tuesday, same time.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay. That's fine. So Monday and Tuesday, we will do justice to the remaining topics. Okay, so please, we will need every one of us to go through those questions, because we are still going to apply these same questions, and we want to see a significant improvement in the scores. We want to see a significant improvement in the scores. If you try the questions and you seem to have some difficulties, that's why we are here. Please, let's hear them during the class sessions. All right, so let's go to, if there are questions that we need to look at in marketing. So here we have these questions. What field will you place in the roles and values area to begin analyzing your return on investment by campaign? Do we have any problem with this? Should we spend time to go through them? Or these are the things that we know we can handle? So I need your responses. Hello. Okay.
Where is my baby?
Hi.
So I was asking question number 31. Do we have any problem doing this?
Yeah, I feel we should just go through them, one after the other, probably.
Invariably, we won't be able to cover up. You know, these questions we use them to illustrate the concept, how they can be applied in real life situations. So some of them are the things that we will practice and hang on. I was hoping to hear that we tried this and there was a difficulty and then we can now handle it. But to go through these questions one after the other, we may not be able to handle everything within the time frame that we have. The reason why I am not jumping straight to the customization, the formatting and customization, they are not really very key. That there are the things that once you are doing Excel, you should be able to handle those things. Some of them are straightforward, like here. You can come over to your pivot table and let's say, you know, remember that one of the things that we mentioned for pivot table is your table should not have total. Okay, it should not have total. Let me see. Like here, duration. No, here might not give us a very good example because we don't have values that we are calculating there. Let's look for another one. Let's look at budget. This campaign. Yes, we have budget. So you see that here, you won't feel very comfortable getting your total in this kind of table because your pivot table is going to include that for you. And so you may run into problems. So like here, we have here, let's do some of the things that we may want to customize. Assuming you want to have you want to have this table banded. So let's go to our design. We can click, sorry, we can click this. Let's see this. We have this, you see the different designs that are being applied. So you can actually use any of these. That's one area that you can customize. Then next to it, towards the left, you have the banded rows. So I'm going to be toggling between these to tick so that you will also see what it looks like. If I click banded rows, you see each row, there are alternate rows that are banding them. And then depending on what I want, I can choose this. I can choose this in these banded rows. Let's see, we want this. Okay, that is the banded rows are off. Let's see something like this. So you see the banded rows. If you want this, you can check this. I can uncheck it and it goes off. What about columns? I have this. And if assuming there are other things here, do we have, okay, so let me just shift this. Let me shift this towards here, somewhere here. And here, I'm going to add actual spend and conversion rate. So you see, I have banded. Here there is no color, here there is color, and here there's no color. And then we are leaving this one in between them. So these are some of the things that you can use to customize your pivot table look. What about this? You don't have bands. along the rows. So now let's go further towards the left. Blank rows. If you want to insert a blank line after each item, you can do this. I haven't used this before. Let's see how this works. Blank line after each item. I haven't used this before, so I can't really talk much about it. But when you come to this, your layout, yes, these ones will give you different looks when you toggle between them: outline, compact, tabular, um, repeat all item labels. Some of these things, depending on what you are bringing to your pivot table, you will see those things coming out distinctly. This does not affect what you're analyzing. It's just to improve the aesthetic outlook. Then another place that is of importance is here. You can toggle off the on and off for row total and column total. Like this first one, if you click this, it is off. For both total, your column total is down here, and then your row total is over here. Now, depending on what your data set inside the pivot table is, you may get a total. But for this case now, I'm not sure it will be, it makes any sense to add this together. You know, you can't add your budget, the sum of budget and spend. Well, let's see. So let's go to this point. Let's switch on for both. The only one that is applicable that will appear is the the total for the columns. The reason is that these are like items that can be added together. The same thing here, the same thing here. But you can add it like this. Like I said, there are some that you can actually add over here. Let's say, for instance, let's go to our sales data where we have, um, let's pick this one. Let's get this over here. I hope there are no details that can get me. So let's remove, I'm going to remove what and what are here. We have a say product region. Okay, this is in percentage. So let me just change this thing back to, okay, this is form. So what exactly are we? Percentage amount. I'm trying to find out what is it that we are calculating here. Sales. So let's remove this and bring it back. Sorry. There is a data here. There is a, let me see, let me create a space to pick this so that we can get this. I want my sales here, and I want it in sum, not, I want it in sum. Okay, so for a data set like this, you can actually have a total for the role. So you see this role is a combination of this and this. And down here is a summation of this and this. So with this, you can switch off, you can take off your grand total, switch them off. It goes off for rows and for columns, and you can bring them back again. You may decide you want it on for only row, so the column goes off. Or you want it only for column, and the row goes off. Okay, so these are different ways that you can run your customization and formatting. Now, I can't remember if we talked about expressing your values as a percentage of things. I think let's look at this. So I'm bringing back my total for both row. Sorry, I want to switch it on again for both rows and column. For this particular one, Now, we may be interested to ask this question. I think we have discussed this before, but let me just run through it again. We may be interested in this question, say, what is the percentage contribution of each product to the total sales? This is a common question that we usually may encounter. So what we are looking at now is, I think that was what we did to get this, I believe so. Okay.
Yes, that's
So,
what we did.
that's what we did. Yeah. So we can do that, and then you right click and tell, and come to show values as. So these are the different things that you can run on this pivot table. You can get a percentage of grand total, a percentage of the column total, a percentage of row total, percentage of off, you define what you want, percentage of parent row total. So it will be good for us to all take time, go through this one after the other to see how that applies to what we do. So that's about that for customization. Then another thing again is, if we want this to come in 2 decimal places. So first, I can right click here. Remember that I told us you can either come to this number format here, or you go through the value field setting. It's the same thing. So let's go through the value field setting, go to the number format, go to our number. We want it in 2 decimal places. And we also want a 1000 separator. So these are the 2 things that we want done here. When we OK and OK, it brings us to this point. One, it has given us 2 decimal places. Secondly, it has also inserted the 1000 separator. So that's how to format and customize your table. Now, another thing that we can also do is, assuming we are dealing with USD, that's dollar, we can still go right click here, go through our value field setting, go through the number, go through the currency, and then we scroll down. I want to believe that every country's currency is here. I know Nigeria own is here. And particularly as an Igbo, I pick Igbo. And then maybe I want only 1 decimal point, please. I OK this, OK this. The entire data that you have put. Remember, what is inside here is the sales amount. And so it's appearing here. All right. So this is another way that you can format your pivot table to arrive at what you want it to look like. I think these are the basic things that we can cover in formatting and customizing your pivot table. Now, there are times you may have, for instance, now, there are 2 rows here. There's this row and there is this level. So here, this is my product, right? Product. And probably I don't want people to see this, because there are times you don't want people to see it. So you can just go over here, carry this one above it, and it goes off. Hardly anybody will know what has happened here, except they come to look here and they see there is a skip. There is 3, but there's no 4 here, and then there is 5. But by mere looking, you will see what is here. And sometimes this is applicable or useful when you have slicers that you're going to put slicer above here, and then you are clicking, and then it's showing the different things that you are trying to display. So I would like us to take time again and go through this formatting. Maybe let's take the next 5 minutes, because this is not really much time consuming. So let's do that. And then let's see the last thing we can take when we come back. So any questions before we go to the customization practice? Any questions? Okay, so we will be waiting. If there are any questions, if there are none, we will pause our recording while we do the practice. Oh, I didn't even know that I didn't record this. Oh my goodness.